Kings, queens, in-betweens, and neither beings. Hello, it's me. It's a new year. I'm recording this on New Year's Day. I just woke up from a nap because I slept through New Year's. I started sleeping at like 10 p.m. and I woke up to text messages being like, Happy New Year. And I'm like, oh, I guess that happened. And then I like put the phone back and like went back to sleep. My mom went to like a concert with her friends and I'm here sleeping. You know, New Year's this year didn't have New Year's vibes for me. I don't know. I've been working out a lot. I've been working on writing a lot. I've been doing a lot of video editing. So I was just tired. I just wanted to sleep, and that's perfectly fine. But anyway, I woke up from sleeping and I had an epiphany. And I realized I can't talk about what my epiphany is until I explain a concept to y'all. And it's a concept that I've wanted to cover in a video for a while now, but sometimes I have an idea for a video and I'll let time pass because I'm like, it's not done cooking yet. Either I want more experience or I don't know enough about the subject to confidently do a video about it. I'm like, this is a subject that I would like to cover, but maybe later. And now I think it is time. I think it's time we talk about trans male fuckboy phases because it is something that is very prevalent in our community. And I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about it in depth because it makes us look bad. And I know it does. Fellas, we look bad sometimes. A lot of trans dudes are kind of pieces of shit, and I would like to get down to the reasoning of why. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to think about things that we used to say and do and concepts that we used to think a lot about in the wrong ways. But this is a safe space where I'm going to word vomit up all of the embarrassing things that I used to say and do. And you know what? We're going to use it as a lesson, as a cautionary tale, because the vast majority of trans men go through the fuckboy phase. Oh, I didn't do a cold open. What do I talk about? What's been going on? I'll think about it later. So something that a lot of trans people in general, sure, but specifically trans men don't get is that hormones and surgery are not gonna fix our brains. If you got bad shit rumbling around there, if you're misogynistic, if you're a fuckboy, those things aren't gonna be automatically fixed once you physically transition. And not every trans man goes on hormones, not every trans man experiences dysphoria, but the ones who do, they tend to get shitty if they realize they're not experiencing the physical changes that they want to, or they have experienced the physical changes, but they are not happy. There is unfortunately not some quick fix to like, you know, oh, I put testosterone in my body for a year and now I am happy. The doctor can't prescribe that for you. He can't say, oh, why was the doctor automatically a man in my head? Women can be doctors too. It's a lady doctor, a twist, a female doctor. Prescribes you testosterone and can't say, take this for 2 years and you will be happy. She doesn't know. None of us know. All trans men go through this fuckboy phase where we are fighting ourselves and everyone else in the world. Even the people close to us, even partners, even friends. Because we're fighting so hard to survive. And sometimes that means we're like caged animals where we're just like lashing out at everyone around us. I was kind of a fuckboy. I was misogynistic pre-transition. And sometimes things are cute and girl bossy when a girl does it. It's cute when a woman is digging on women because, you know, like she knows, she has the experience. But when you take that same dialogue and put it in a man's mouth, it becomes more violent, you know? It becomes more shitty. And that's what happened with me. I had habits and I had things that I thought and did that all of a sudden I'm a man now. And so like it's not appropriate for me to be saying or doing these things. I was kind of a piece of shit. And when you transition, it's not automatically gonna fix that. So now I'm just the same kinds of fucked up in the body and brain that I am, but now I'm just in a dude's body. And I'm hormonal because I've just gone on testosterone. I'm frustrated because people around me aren't treating me the way I would like to be treated in a gendered way. I'm losing a lot of friends because they don't like trans people, and I didn't know that they didn't like trans people until I transitioned. And with me specifically, you know, not all trans men go through this, but I was getting out of an abusive situation that I had been in for 9 years. So everything is changing and shifting. Like I moved to a new place. I'm surrounded by people who are good and teaching me how to be good, but I'm not in the mindset for it. So I would lash out and be shitty because I'm still misogynistic. I still hate women, and I still don't understand that I hate women. Because, like, I can't hate women, I've lived as one. But that's not true at all. Just because you are part of some group doesn't mean you can't be hateful towards that group. There are plenty of black people that hate black people. There are plenty of gay people who hate gay people. There are plenty of trans people who hate trans people. It doesn't make sense. But again, it does. Because culturally, we are taught to hate those things. Therefore, even if we are those things, it doesn't connect. And so that's why most trans men go through this fuckboy phase that usually lasts from, if you go on hormones, the beginning of that to, I would say mine lasted for 8 or 9 months. And I'm so fortunate I was able to get out of it. Some guys stay in it. If you're not growing or advancing as a person, you can just be stuck there forever. And I can't think of a worse fate. To be trapped in the part of my life where I was the worst person. But there hit a point at 8 or 9 months where everything just clicked. And I realized I need to change everything about myself. I was very fortunate that I had people around me who were good people, who had good morals and were like, you know, anti-racist, anti-transphobia, anti-homophobia. They were helping me realize what was wrong with my brain, but in nice ways. But even if someone is trying to help you, things don't always absorb into the brain. Things were bouncing off of me that I really needed to absorb, and I didn't. Until that 8 or 9 month mark. That's when everything clicked. I was light touching the Death Note in season... Was it season 2? No, it must have been the end of season 1. You know the moment where you touch the Death Note and then all the memories just start flooding and your eyes glow and just everything made sense all at once. And that's when I broke up with my partner and moved to Philly to be by myself because I realized I can't do this growing with another person. I need to completely separate myself from the situation because they were so kind and good and they were going to love me no matter what. And that wasn't fair because I wasn't treating them the way they deserved to be treated and I couldn't, being the person that I currently was. And I'm so fortunate that I learned that and I figured it out because some guys don't. Some guys are just gonna remain in that fuckboy phase and just be shitty forever. And I think the only way we break that cycle is if we talk about it and think about it and realize what needs to get fixed. Hormones contribute to it, but like, it's not entirely testosterone's fault. Testosterone doesn't make you more violent or aggressive, but if you have those tendencies inside of you already, it will accentuate them. But I only heard the first part of that sentence. My doctor was like, testosterone does not make you more aggressive or violent. And I turned off my brain and was like, cool, then all I have to do is just go on autopilot. Nothing is my fault, it's not the hormones, but I had violent tendencies inside of myself for myself. I hated myself so much. Like, I would self-harm in ways that I didn't think was self-harming. But later I realized it was, because like when you think of self-harm, you think of like the typical things of like, and this is why the disclaimer is at the beginning. So I'm going to talk about things. So be aware. When you think about self-harm, you think about the classic ways of like cutting oneself or like things like that. But what I would do is I would just beat the shit out of myself. Like I would like slam my hands on tables and I would slam my head into walls and just like fuck myself up because I was angry and I didn't want to hurt other people. So I would just hurt myself. And I didn't understand that that was self-harm until much later in life. But yeah, because I had those tendencies inside of myself, testosterone just made those worse because I also wasn't fixing my brain. I wasn't having any introspection. You need to become secure in your mind also. You can't just rely on the physical changes to fix yourself. You need a balance of both in order to be happy. So when trans men are in this fuckboy phase, they hate women, they hate other trans men, they hate everyone. They're just angry. They're angry and bitter and jealous. And that manifests itself in how they talk about the world. A trans guy can seem very confident in himself, but you have to pay attention to how he's talking about other people to see how insecure he actually is. Because trans men hate other trans men. I've been observing, I've been doing research and just observing trans men like on Instagram or on Twitter or social media. That's a great way to observe them when they don't realize what they're putting out into the world. But it fascinated me and I wanted to fix this problem. So I was like, I need to go backwards. I need to think about what I was like at that time. And I need to see what other dudes who are in this state, what they're doing and how they're talking about other people. And trans men who are in this fuckboy phase are just really mean to other trans men because they are jealous. There are trans dudes who just hate on classically passing trans men just because they want what they have. And that's so weird to me, but I do understand it. I was insecure, and when I was insecure, I was jealous of other trans men who had facial hair or, you know, passed in public. I was jealous of their bodies if they were more muscular than me. I was you know, jealous about different things about them. And now that I'm secure in myself, I've realized that jealousy and envy are different things. Jealousy is more about wanting what that other person has. And envy is about, you know, being envious, like understanding that they have something you don't, but not trying to be violent towards them because of it. Difference between jealousy and envy.
Feeling of wanting what someone else has, like attributes or possessions. If you're jealous, you feel threatened, protective, or fearful of losing one's position or situation to someone else.
There we go. Thank you, Google. If you're jealous, you're threatened. And I don't feel jealous about other trans men anymore. I feel envious sometimes, occasionally. Because I'm really comfortable and happy in my body and mind now. But, you know, sometimes I will see a trans dude who is bigger than me or more muscular or has a fuller beard or whatever the case is. But I'm able to absorb and process that in a healthy way now. Where I'm like, damn, I'm really happy for them. I would like to have what they have. What kind of steps can I do to make my body like that, you know? And while I'm on my way to getting a body like that, I'm still happy in the current state that I'm in. And that's the difference. They feel threatened by it. They think it makes them look bad for someone else to look better than them. And I get it. I understand it because they are, again, trying so hard to survive. And it's much easier to be the bully than be bullied. So those guys tend to gravitate towards other fuckboys. They want to blend in with cis fuckboys because then they feel like they have power, they have some kind of control. It's other guys that hate women also, you know, so they can point at women and be like, haha, see, like I'm not like them. I hate women too. Ooh, I hate them. Unless you want to fuck them? Like, I fuck them, but I hate them. It's weird. And it's because they're in pain, and that sucks. But if they don't acknowledge the pain that they are in, their unwillingness to accept themselves for who they are, they can become elitist about it. They kind of like evolve into this other state where they become trans medicalists or true scum or a fucking anti-trans YouTuber. I've done some deep diving into trans men who hate trans men, and boy, is it sad. And that's why I'm just so grateful every day that I have people around me who turned me into a not shit person. Sure, I had to do a lot of work myself, but I wouldn't have even gotten to that state if I didn't have people who genuinely cared about me, who didn't want me to go down the bad road, because you can really just very easily go down the bad road. You start in the fuckboy phase, and you can go down two roads. One is you realize all the shit that's wrong with you and you try to fix it so you can become a decent human being, or you just go down the bad road and you stay in that phase forever, and it's fucking miserable. But I have empathy for them because I know that they're just in pain, and I want them to get better. And that's why I'm making this video. We need to have education on the issue. When I see a trans dude who hates himself, I'm never like, that guy sucks forever. I'm just like, that sucks, and I hope you get better. Because it is something you can heal from, but you need to put in the work. It took me a solid year, I would say, maybe 2, to get out of my fuckboy phase, and no one's out of it entirely. It's kind of like being an alcoholic, where even if you're 5-10 years sober or whatever, they tell you that you're still an alcoholic, you're just recovering. I'm a recovering fuckboy. There's still some shit in my brain where it will pop to the surface when I haven't thought about shit like that in years. And, you know, you've been culturally taught to think and act a certain way, so there's gonna be remnants of that. Even though I don't believe women are inferior to men, I will still have, you know, sexist thoughts sometimes where I'm like, I don't like that I thought that. Maybe let's take a second and process that and think about how we can fix that and why we thought that in the first place. I assumed the doctor was male at the beginning of this video. And you know what? We nipped it in the bud, and I've single-handedly fixed sexism. Thank you, I'm a feminist. Please, hold your applause. Thank you, thank you. I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy who cares. Maybe one day they'll let women be doctors. But you know what sucks the most about trans men who hate other trans men? Hello, sweetie. Do you want to know what sucks the most about that?
How they're just making the world worse and more difficult for themselves.
That's correct. Wow, she's so smart for her age. 9 months old and already repeating my rhetoric. When fuckboy trans men talk about how much trans men suck and misgender other trans people, what do you think you're doing? If you're teaching people it's okay to be transphobic, they're gonna be transphobic to you. They don't like you. You get that, right? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's why I don't hang out with other trans men, I think, is like I follow a bunch of trans dudes on Instagram, but I have to unfollow a few every couple months because they just start saying misogynistic stuff or pushing NFTs or having cultural appropriation of some kind. It's like it's so frustrating. I just want to shake them and be like, you're making us look bad. Yeah, we should look bad for the sins that we've committed. But also we just need to get better. We need some good role models, and that's also part of the problem is trans people are so invisible to the public in general and in media and you know, all that shit. But trans men specifically, we just don't exist. There's no one out there. And that's why I understand when people call me a trans elder of some kind. It doesn't make sense in my brain because I feel so fucking young. I'm 30 and I'm just starting my life. But I get it now. It's because I think about my life and how I didn't have any trans men to look up to. There's no role models. There was no one for me to look at and say, I can have a life. But I can be that for other people. Because as much as I hate it, as much as I hate fame and internet fame as like a concept, it skeeves me out. I don't consider myself known at all. But I do have to realize, as much as I hate it, that I do have an influence on people. I get comments all the time from people who are like, I grew up watching your stuff. And I'm like, that's crazy. No way anyone's that young. But then I realized, yeah, I'm 30 and I've been doing this since I was 15. So there are people who were raised on my content and on my words. And that's freaky, but I will do more harm by not acknowledging it. It can be very easy for me to just ignore it and not think I have an influence on anyone and just say and do shitty things. But when I don't want to do shitty things, I don't want to say shitty things. But also, in addition to that, it will have an effect on people and on the future, it's just so wild to think about. But I've outgrown a previous version of myself, and I have to keep outgrowing myself. It's healthy. It's healthy if you cringe at things that you used to say and do, because that means you've changed as a person. I'm very grateful that I've gotten the opportunities that I have in order to outgrow the fuckboy phase. So now we can talk about the fuckboy phase, because if I was still a fuckboy, I wouldn't really want to talk about it. I wouldn't acknowledge it. I wouldn't even think it's real. I'm awesome and perfect and nothing's wrong. Buy my NFTs. You know, a lot of the public knowledge about trans people is changing things about ourselves in order to be happy, but I think it's really the opposite. I think it's accepting who we are in order to be happy. I had a lot of internal work that I had to do. I had to learn and accept that I could be happy. And sometimes we have to become people that we're not in order to realize who we are. And that's what I was doing. I was in a fuckboy phase, and I didn't even fit in with other fuckboys. Because being a fuckboy, it bleeds into other things. Fuckboys don't just stop at being fuckboys. Usually fuckboys are, you know, racist also. That comes along with it, and homophobic. And so, of course, they're also transphobic. I was fitting in with people that don't give a shit about me. I transitioned. I was friends with fuckboys who were okay with me because I was one of the good ones. You know, I was one of those trans people that hated on women and other trans people and stuff. But the moment I went against them, they started being really shitty to me. They started like misgendering me. They completely cut me off. And so their support of trans people was completely performative. They didn't actually believe anything that they were saying or thinking. They're okay with trans people until they say something they don't like. They're okay with people of color until they say something they don't like. And so it wasn't sustainable. There wasn't a way to sustain that. And so they have to accept all the misogynistic, racist shit that comes along with being friends with fuckboys if they want to fit in there. Or they change and grow and they go down the other path. But that's why there's two main paths. A lot of trans dudes who hate themselves become anti-trans YouTubers because that's where they'll get attention. They didn't get the attention they wanted just by being themselves and being a trans person. So they're like, okay, I'm going to appeal to the alt-right. I hate myself too. Isn't that relatable? I'm one of the good ones. Buy my NFTs. And there is a third path, but it's more rare and it's separated from the other two. The third path that a trans dude can go down is if he has supportive friends and family and he's in a healthy state physically and mentally to do more transition. So he has just a straight path of like, I realize that I'm trans to I am happy being trans. And that's more rare because culturally we're taught to hate trans people. It's different. I don't understand it. I'm not trans, therefore I don't get it. And so I really don't hang out with trans men. I feel like I have outgrown them. I'm not perfect myself. I'm still on my journey to becoming the best version of Jesse, but I can't even begin to grow if they're not meeting me at a certain level. And so I don't really hang out with a lot of them. I have a lot of trans female friends. I have a lot of non-binary friends. I don't really have any trans male friends. And so I was thinking about that when I was waking up from my nap, my lovely, very cool person New Year's Eve nap. You know, I was invited to just too many parties. I felt like, you know, shouldn't go to any of them. I'm too cool for that. I'm gonna sleep. And I bolted upright with an epiphany. I've been judging these guys for not getting to a place where they're mentally healthy. I've been judging them for not being able to break out of the fuckboy phase and become a decent human being. But I had better conditions than them. I had people around me telling me no. I had people around me sitting me down and telling me when I said something shitty. Even if I was accidentally racist, sometimes you can be racist because there are things put in your brain. And if you're like too in your head, then you're like, nah, it's probably them that are wrong. And then you don't learn from it and you continue down the same path and nothing gets corrected. People just think you're kind of an asshole who doesn't listen to other people. Same thing about my opinions about women, same thing about my opinions of other trans people, about gay people, whatever the case. I was able to learn and grow from them because I was in the right conditions. The soil was nurturing to me. Because I have supportive friends and family, and I was able to hit the ground running with the surgeries that I needed. I was able to get top surgery, I was able to get on T, basically like within a span of like 6 months after I had come out. And those little steps help you to reach the next steps. Because I was able to get on hormones, because I was able to get top surgery, I was able to make a little step. I was able to step towards something mentally. You know, when I made a step forward physically, it allowed me the space to grow and take a step forward emotionally and mentally. I wouldn't have been able to take those steps if I was trapped in a situation where I felt trapped in my body. But because that gave me a little relief and a little peek at what I could be, I got a little glimpse into my future, and I got a little relief in that time where I could be like, oh, I'm comfortable in my body. I'm the most comfortable I've been in my body ever. And so I could fucking relax, and I could stop being depressed. Because we were trying to treat depression in me as a teenager. I think at age 13 or 14, I began suicidal ideation and stuff like that. And it only got worse as puberty happened. So once you get rid of the dysphoria, I wasn't depressed anymore. So it wasn't depression. It wasn't like full on just depression that was causing my anxiety and all this shit. I was sad all the time because I was suffering from dysphoria. So when you get rid of the dysphoria, I just wasn't depressed anymore. And that doesn't happen with everyone. But in my case, that was the source. So when I got top surgery and I got on T, I was able to put myself in a good position where I could step forward in my journey to getting mentally healthy. And I honestly don't know what would have happened to me if I wasn't granted that. A lot of trans guys can't ever get mentally healthy because they are not able to get the surgeries that they need. They can't even begin their journey if this big thing is just weighing on their shoulders. They have to learn to be happy right now, and that's really, really hard. It was easier on me, and I was able to advance quicker than others because I was granted the space and the time and the medical necessities that I needed. If they suffer from dysphoria and that's not getting treated or helped in any way, they can't take the step forward mentally. If they're constantly burdened with, oh, I can't get top surgery, I'm gonna need it. Like, I need it now, but like, if I save up, I could get it in 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 10 years. It breaks my fucking heart that I see so many GoFundMes for top surgery that just aren't being supported. There's far too many. We can't support them all, but like, there's so many because they don't have insurance or healthcare, blah, blah, blah. So I can sit here judging them all I want and being like, man, it sucks that they can't like get to my level, but they can't because I got things better. If the world was better, if it was a kinder place to trans people, so many trans men would just be so much happier because they'd be given a chance. Some of them don't even have a chance to be happy. And that's a very obvious statement. Like, yeah, if the world was nicer to trans people, trans men would be happier. But like, we're not giving them a fighting chance. If you suffer from dysphoria, you can learn to be happy in your body right now in the here and now. It's just hard. So we need to work to make the world a better place so that trans healthcare is taken more seriously. But that's like a future thing. We need, like, what can I do right now to help people? And that's what I was thinking about. 'Cause I'm not a doctor, I'm not in charge of healthcare, fucking anything. I'm fighting with my insurance right now because they decided last minute not to cover my stage 2 surgery. And I need it again in July because the rod was taken out. So I gotta fight them. And that's a small step that I can do to help trans people because like, we need them to take it seriously, and the more people fight them on it, the more they'll be like, oops, maybe we're dumb. But what else can I do? What can I do right now? And I realized I can talk about what I've gone through and the fuckboy phase and all that. I can educate people on it, because there's so many trans guys that are just running around with no guidance. And I was one of them. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have any trans men to look to as an example. I was just kind of out here with a fucking machete, just working my way through mile-high grass and being like, I hope I'm going the right way. And eventually I learned things. I learned to sharpen my blade. I learned if I'm going that direction or this direction, maybe I should switch things up. I had to learn all this shit on my own. And I don't think I would have been able to if I didn't have the support that I did. Not as easily. Because like I said, I also had people who were supporting me and able to call me out when I was doing shitty things or saying shitty things. Because if you're already battling inside your body and you don't have people in your life helping you to become a mentally healthy or good person, then you're set up for failure. I thought and said a lot of ignorant shit that I'm very fortunate that people were able to correct me on. If they didn't, I would just still be thinking and saying it. And what else would get a hold of my mind? You know, because if I was still hanging out with fuckboys, what hurts cis men will hurt trans men. And what hurts trans men will hurt cis men. It's a cycle. Because we're shitty to cis men about wearing pink and wearing florals and acting like a girl, we hold trans men to that standard as well. If we encourage toxic masculinity in cis men, then that's important to trans men also. Oh, I guess I should be toxic masculine. And when you go on testosterone, you're going through second puberty. You're going through puberty. Your hormones are all over the place. You're horny and angry, and you're gonna make mistakes that teenage boys make, but you're an adult man now. I mean, depending on when you transition. You know, I went on T at age 26, 27. I was acting like a child because that's when my puberty was happening. You see teenage cis boys acting shitty to women and all this stuff, you know, but they grow up and they get other people in their lives and they turn into good, healthy members of society. But also some of them do not. They stay the same and they keep going down that path. It depends who you have around you. And that's why I make videos. I woke up from my nap and everything clicked and it made me realize that's why I do this. I can't go to every trans man who needs a surgery and give them money for it. I can't make healthcare people pay attention to them in the ways that they need. I can't do these things, but what I can do is I can talk about the mistakes that I've made. There are no role models for us. I need to be a positive source, because what are they gonna listen to otherwise? Andrew Tate? They're gonna watch some guys that are the pinnacle of masculinity, and they're gonna learn what they have to say, because that's what the kids who grew up watching my videos would have done. Those people who tell me that they grew up watching my stuff and hearing what I have to say, they're gonna be young adults soon. That means they're listening to me. That means trans men are in my audience hearing what I have to say, and that's going to shape their mind. And that's a huge responsibility. If I don't talk about this shit, they're just not gonna know. If I don't tell them, hey, you know what? No, all right, here we go. Trans men, I'm speaking directly to you right now, all right? Let's have a chat. I'm gonna tell you some advice. I'm gonna tell you some big brother, some dad advice. Everyone is on their own journeys. It is completely normal to feel envious of other guys. But the key here is that we have to know the difference between envy and jealousy. Jealousy is poison. It is selfish. It's gonna rot your brain and you're never gonna be happy. I mean this with sincerity when I say this. Your body is amazing. It might not look like what you want it to or how you feel like it should, but it is strong. It is a vessel that holds your mighty soul. And that is incredible. That's a miracle. And you wanna know a secret? You wanna know something? Those fuckboys who are cis men that are your friends, they're not your friends. You hear how they talk about women behind their backs? You hear how they talk about people of color behind their backs? What do you think they're saying? What do you think they think about you? Change and grow, get different friends. I promise you, you will just be infinitely happier. If someone's mean, they're mean to you. They're mean. You don't want mean people around you. It is normal to care about what people think about you, but don't let it make you treat other people worse. Eventually you won't care. Eventually you won't care what people think about you because you'll be happy, so nothing else matters. But here in the now, just take some baby steps. Just take some baby steps learning to be happy with yourself. Even if you don't look the way that you want yourself to, you are that person, and that's all that fucking matters. And there's going to be a growth period. There's going to be a painful growth period where some people might not stick around for you to change and grow, and that's fine. The most important thing is that you just focus on yourself and learn to be happy with yourself. Turn yourself into someone that you're happy with. It took me a long fucking time, and I'm still on the journey. And I can honestly say right now, I am so happy. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I'm happy because I'm happy with myself, and I'm also happy with the way I treat people. As opposed to when I first started my fuckboy phase and I was just miserable and I treated people shitty. You need to become mentally healthy. You need to treat the people around you with respect and love, or nothing else fucking matters, you know? So that's the short-term solution, is that we can just try to communicate with our community the best that we can and tell them, hey, here's a pitfall. Hey, I was whacking through the woods and I saw a hole, and I'm gonna let you know about it so you don't fall in like I did. Short term, that's all we can do. And in the long term, I've realized that if we can just make the world a better place, if the conditions are better for trans men, then we will cut down on the number of trans men that succumb to permanent fuckboy phase. There needs to be more education. There needs to be better conditions for them to learn and grow. And if we can do that, we can severely cut down on it. Because right now, they're just whacking with a machete in the dark. So of course some of them are gonna fall down the Andrew Tate hole. Ah, damn, I saw that Andrew Tate hole in the machete woods, and I didn't tell you where not to fall into it. So now I'm telling you. The internet is incredible, but there's also so many bad people here. And if I was 15, just like growing up on the internet, I would watch some bad stuff and not know it's bad stuff. I would take advice that I might not know is shit because no one told me. So now I'm here and I'm telling you, I have to do my best to tell you where the holes are. They're bad holes. Also, trans men, break up with your shitty on again, off again turfy girlfriend. Okay, I know you like want to date her. Maybe you dated pre-transition and you think, oh, I can change her. Just don't do it. There's a stereotype that I have discovered that trans dudes just date shitty girlfriends. They're always like cis white women, and they're on again, off again, on again, off again, but we hate ourselves. We're in the fuckboy phase, so both of us are bad people. Like, we're bad people, and she's a bad person, so we just keep dating on and off. Just to break up. You will eventually outgrow her, and that's great, and you probably won't break up with her until you realize there's gonna be the epiphany. There's gonna be around 8 or 9 months where you snap and you're like, ah, shit, I've been a bad person, and also she's a bad person. I don't want to be with her anymore. I'm telling you, that's going to happen. And you're not going to take my advice because I wouldn't have taken my advice. But I'm just telling you, here's a little pin in it for the future. But yeah, that's a long-term goal. If we can just make the world a better place for trans people, if we can make everyone more educated. Like, yeah, that's the thing. One thing might feed into the other. You know, if the world becomes a better place for trans people, trans men will spend less time in the fuckboy phase, but also the reverse. If we make trans men spend less time in the fuckboy phase, it will make the world a better place. Just like how we treat cis men affects trans men and vice versa, it's cyclical. I might not be able to do anything to help the healthcare system be better. I might not be able to stop transphobia from existing, but I can talk about the fuckboy phase. And that in itself is valuable because there's no education on it. So just by talking about it, we're already changing the world. Because now when a trans dude goes on testosterone, enters their fuckboy phase, and they're treating people shitty, now there's a term for it. Now they know, oh, I'm not alone in this. I'm acting away, and lots of other trans men have also acted this way. We're giving you a flashlight in the machete woods. The machete's in your hand. I can't help you whack away the grass in your own space, but I can give you a light. I can help a little bit. I can help give you the tools so that you're better able to manage it. My T-Day is in a week from now. I'm turning 4 years old. And my girth day was a couple months ago. It was November 29th. I don't feel dysphoria anymore. And I didn't know that could happen. And I wouldn't have gotten to this point if I didn't have the support that I did. You don't have to stay in the fuckboy phase forever. You can find the other path. It's just past some grass. It's just past some weeds. And once you're done whacking away, you'll find it. You are a kind person. I believe that you're a kind person. Don't let the other shit poison your mind. Treat yourself with kindness, and you'll be able to treat other people with kindness.
Toxic masculinity affects everyone.
That's very smart. You're so wise, Pumpkin. She tried to put her foot in my mouth. That's disgusting. Ooh. You know what? Don't put your own foot in your own mouth. Choose kindness. This video was brought to you by my sponsors over on Patreon. I know you love hearing about Patreon. So, oh boy, wow. Let me tell you about it. It's real cool. I get to make my videos fully based on what I want to make videos about. And I don't have to appeal to the big wigs at YouTube telling me to do algorithm shit. Hey, you should do a Fortnite dance. I don't fucking care. You can't control me, YouTube. I'm funded by Patreon. So thank you for all my patrons over there. Really appreciate you. I want to give a special shout out to some special folks over there. My silver sponsors: Alex Buhner, Bria Katrina, Cyberlink420, Dan Millington, Dane McRae, Gatarine, Giselle Nera, Marie Byrne, Mike Burnfire, Neve Kinor, Pakajawa, and Zoe. You know who's next? It's my gold sponsors, or should I say gold sponsor, Sam Bartram. Thank you so much, Sam. And last but certainly not least, my diamond sponsors. Holy shit, this is the most diamond sponsors I've ever had in the history of Patreon, so I really appreciate y'all. Breadsynth, EPAM, Getty Skog, Leo Valkenhain, Stefan Stalheim, and Tsukiyomi. Thank y'all so much. Really appreciate the support over there so I can make my dumb bullshit. So thanks again. I hope you have a great day. Like, it's a new year. Let's fucking start it right. All right, let's fucking go. I don't know, just have a great day. I'm happy I can make videos for you, and I'm glad that you finished this one. Real cool. Have a great day or night or wherever it is where you are located currently in the world.